Good evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Shreya Savijay. Here are the top stories we are tracking for you on Thursday, the 4th of March. India's foreign minister in Bangladesh to prepare ground for PM Modi's visit. Pashtun activists protest in Geneva to highlight rights violations in Pakistan. And Nepal government signs peace agreement with communist rebel group. And now for all the details. India's Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar on Thursday met his Bangladeshi counterpart A.K. Abdul Momen as he arrived in Dhaka on a day-long visit to prepare the ground for Prime Minister Narendra Modi's upcoming visit to Bangladesh. Both the leaders held wide-ranging discussions on ways to take forward bilateral relations.
India's Foreign Minister S. Jaishankar on Thursday met his Bangladeshi counterpart A.K. Abdul Momen and held wide-ranging discussions on ways to take forward the bilateral relations. As part of India's Neighbourhood First policy, Jaishankar arrived in Bangladeshi capital Dhaka on a day-long visit to prepare the ground for Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi's upcoming visit to Bangladesh. Both the ministers held bilateral meeting and took stock of the progress of relations between the two countries. Various aspects of the bilateral relationship, including border killings, Teesta water sharing agreement, were discussed in the talk. Jaishankar and Momen later also held a joint press conference and noted steady progress between the two countries even during COVID. India has in recent weeks provided 2 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine shots to Bangladesh as goodwill gesture.
COVID cooperation, connectivity, trade, water, security, border and lines of credit are some of the areas we discussed.
We see Bangladesh as a key neighbor and a valued partner not only in South Asia but also in the broader Indo-Pacific region. Every outcome and achievement in our relationship resonates through this region.
Prime Minister Modi is visiting Dhaka as part of the 50th anniversary celebrations of Bangladesh's independence later this month.
In news from Pakistan, the ruling Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party has said that Prime Minister Imran Khan will seek a vote of confidence in the parliament after Finance Minister Abdul Hafiz Sheikh lost his bid for a Senate seat in an election on Wednesday. The loss represents a significant blow to Khan and the government. Pakistani Prime Minister Imran Khan will seek a vote of confidence in the parliament after the government's finance minister Abdul Hafiz Sheikh lost his bid for a Senate seat in an election on Wednesday, Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi said. Khan's ruling PTI Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf party and its political allies were bidding to wrest control of Pakistan's Senate from opposition parties in indirect elections to 37 seats in the 104-member upper house of parliament. The party managed to win 18 seats. The loss of Finance Minister Sheikh represents a significant blow to Khan and the government because the Electoral College in Sheikh's case was the lower house of parliament, which chooses the Prime Minister of the country, and in 2018 handed a majority to Khan.
इमरान खान साहब ने और उनकी जमात ने एक मुत्तफिक का फैसला किया है कि इमरान खान इंशाअल्लाह इस ऐवान से एतमाद का वोट लेंगे.
Meanwhile, causing a blow to the ruling alliance in the Senate elections from Islamabad, an upbeat opposition on Wednesday asked PM Imran Khan to resign in an honourable way after Sheikh's defeat at the hands of Pakistan Democratic Movement candidate Syed Yusuf Raza Gilani. Moving on, members of Pashtun Tahaffuz movement staged a demonstration outside the UN headquarters in Geneva earlier this week to highlight human rights violations by Pakistan against innocent Pashtuns. They also raised concerns over illegal detention of prominent Pashtun leaders and the issue of enforced disappearances.
Members of civil rights movement Pashtun Tahaffuz movement or PTM earlier this week staged a protest outside the UN headquarters in Geneva, raising concerns over gross human rights violations committed by Pakistan Army on innocent Pashtuns. The Pashtun activists demanded the immediate and unconditional release of PTM leader Ali Wazir, a sitting member of National Assembly of Pakistan, who was detained last December for allegedly making anti-state comments, and more than 40 other Pashtun activists who have been languishing in Pakistani jails over false charges. The activists urged the United Nations to take notice of the enforced disappearances, extrajudicial killings, and arbitrary detentions of Pashtuns in Pakistan.
और हजारों लोग जो है उनकी आंखों के सामने जो है वो इनफोर्स डिसअपीयरेंसेस का शिकार हैं। पीटीएम के लोग जो है उनके नुमाइंदे हैं और वो भी जेलों में पड़े हुए हैं और उनको आप ये देखिए कि पाकिस्तान में किस तरह का डबल स्टैंडर्ड है कि बाकी लोगों के प्रोटेक्शन ऑर्डर जारी होते हैं कि किसी भी असेंबली के सेशंस को वो एड्रेस कर पार्टिसिपेट करें, लेकिन पीटीएम के रहनुमा और वो जेल में हैं और
Members of Pashtun ethnic minority have long blamed they have been targets of military operations, ethnic stereotyping, enforced disappearances, and fake encounters by Pakistani security forces.
The U.S. Department of State has informed that U.S. Special Envoy to Afghanistan, Zalmay Khalilzad, has wrapped up 3 days of talks in Kabul on a productive point. The department said Khalilzad met Afghan political leaders during his trip, which focused on accelerating progress towards peace in Afghanistan. And now he is in Doha to look into negotiations between the Afghan government and the Taliban.
The U.S. Special Envoy to Afghanistan, Zalmay Khalilzad, has wrapped up 3 days of talks in Kabul, U.S. Department of State said on Wednesday, describing the talks as productive. Spokesperson to the department, Ned Price, informed Khalilzad met Afghan political leaders during his trip, which focused on accelerating progress towards peace in Afghanistan.
The special representative and his team are now in the midst of their first travel to the region since January 20th. Esrar Khalilzad and his team wrapped up today 3 days of productive consultations with government officials in Kabul. They met with civil society leaders. They met with other Afghan political leaders focused on accelerating progress towards peace.
U.S. brokered peace talks between the Afghan government and the Taliban began in September last year, but progress has slowed and violence has risen in Afghanistan. The State Department has said Khalilzad and his team is now visiting Qatar to look into negotiations between the Afghan government and the militant group.
The European Union has condemned the shooting of 3 female workers of a private TV network in eastern Afghanistan and called for an immediate halt to attacks on journalists and women. Though Islamic State militant group claimed responsibility for the attack, violence and targeted killings have risen around Afghanistan in recent months, even as Afghan peace process takes place in Doha.
Denouncing the killing of 3 female workers of a private TV network in Afghanistan's eastern Nangarhar province, the European Union called on an end to targeted attacks on journalists and women in Afghanistan. The EU, in a statement on Wednesday, said the killing of Murzal Wahidi, Shahnaz Raufi and Sadhya Sadat in atrocious planned assassinations deprives 3 young individuals of their future and their families, friends and colleagues of loved ones. The 3 women worked for Enikas TV, the same news channel where slain Malalai Maiwand had worked. Maiwand was killed along with her driver in a targeted assassination in December. Expecting transparent and thorough investigations of all these attacks and assassinations, the statement said the Taliban remain responsible for the majority of civilian casualties and targeted assassinations, either directly or by opposing a ceasefire. However, on Wednesday, the Islamic State claimed responsibility for the attack.
دغه د فوجنې باید بند شي او یو امن او صلح راشي د سبي ګناه کسان پکې ډیر مري خصوصا دغه خزینه طبقه نو د دې له وجه نه دوی هم ناجایز او ظلم کوي او ډیر په ظلم زیاتی باندې دوی راوړي.
Violence has risen around Afghanistan and media workers and civil society members in urban areas have been targeted in recent months, even as a peace process takes place in Qatar's capital of Doha.
In news from Nepal, Nepal's government signed a peace agreement on Thursday with Netra Bikram Chand-led Communist Party of Nepal, a small communist rebel group widely feared because they were known for violent attacks, extortion and bombings. According to a brief statement issued by the leaders of talk panels of both sides on Thursday, the agreement includes that the Communist Party of Nepal will resolve all their political issues through dialogue, conduct all their political activities in peaceful manner, and the government will rescind all restrictions on CPN, release all arrested cadres, and release pending cases on the party. The government had imposed a ban on Chand's party's activities in March 2019 following twin blasts in the capital, in which one person was killed. The peace agreement with the rebel group comes at a time when Prime Minister KP Sharma Oli and his government are facing a political crisis since a split developed in his own ruling party and the Supreme Court reinstated the parliament he had dissolved. Moving on to news from Sri Lanka. Sri Lanka is celebrating its Air Force's 70th anniversary with a 3-day aerobatics extravaganza in capital Colombo. The first day of 3-day event was held on Wednesday, which began with the flypast by the Lankan Air Force, who were later joined by the Indian Air Force, who took part in the celebrations in keeping with the long years of close interaction between India and Sri Lanka.
A 3-day aerobatics extravaganza at Sri Lanka's Gala Phase Greens is being organized on the occasion of the 70th anniversary of SLAF, the Sri Lankan Air Force. Wednesday's air show, which was the first of the 3-day event, was held in presence of President Gotabaya Rajapaksa and began with the flypast by the SLAF. IAF, the Indian Air Force, also took part in the neighbouring country's celebrations with aerobatic sequence of its 14 aircrafts, including the Tejas multi-role light fighter aircraft. IAF took part in the event in keeping with the long years of close interaction between India and Sri Lanka and also between both nations' air forces.
A first-ever ski mountaineering event for women was organised in Gulmarg town of India's Jammu and Kashmir this week. The event was aimed at promoting adventure sports and tourism. The first ski mountaineering games for women was organised at Gulmarg town of India's Jammu and Kashmir Union Territory this week with an aim to promote adventure sports and adventure tourism. Adventure Tour Operator Association of Kashmir, in collaboration with the Jammu and Kashmir Sports Council, organised the sporting event. Adventure enthusiasts from India's Odisha, Madhya Pradesh, Uttarakhand, among other states, participated in the game.
ये जो स्की माउंटेनियरिंग है, इसमें हमारे देश में ये मेरे ख्याल में गुलमर्ग में पहला ये इवेंट हुआ आज जो सेकंड खेलो इंडिया हो रहा है यहाँ पर विंटर स्पोर्ट्स, तो पहली बार इतनी सारी लड़कियाँ हिस्सा ले रही हैं.
So it is the competition between the females. So a female has to prove herself best. So she has to give her best.
Gulmarg is the most famous skiing destination in India, which offers perfect condition for skiing. In Gulmarg, tourists from across India and globe experience the thrill of dashing down the slopes from an incredible height. Well, that's all we have for you from South Asia this evening. Now viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.